Welcome to reading sprints. These are Gothtober themed reading sprints, but of course you can be reading anything or everything or doing productivity sprints. We are going to hopefully be doing 3 sprints all together. And yeah, welcome. I'm Olivia Savannah, and this is Olivia's Catastrophe. And these are my friends who I'm sprinting with. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves? Starting with Abby.
Okay, so I'm Abby from Abbey of Pelennor. I mainly read fantasy with some random classics thrown in, partly because of her. And we read a big classic every year, so look out for the big classic that Olivia will be reading next year.
That we both will be reading next year.
Yeah, but I'm promoting you. I'm helping you.
I'm also trying to promo back. Just a gift that keeps on giving. How about you, Jem?
I'm Jem from Bookish Gems. I read manga, horror, fantasy. But manga and horror seems to be my main reads at the minute, but fantasy, sci-fi, a bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm Kasha from Kasha's Book Cemetery. And I mostly read horror and thrillers. And true crime. I love true crime as well, which is kind of horror just in real life, basically.
And that's why I can't handle it. Fictional horror I can do, but true crime isn't a good goth evening to you too, Pixie. Hello. So, I wonder what everyone is going to be reading for this sprint. I'm just going to start doing the cycle again. I probably should have been like, introduce yourself and talk about what you're reading, but it's all good.
Yeah. Well, like Olivia, I'm reading a million things at once. However, I will just mention the one I'm going to pick up in the first sprint to keep things simple, and we'll go from there. But I'm going to be reading today's section of The Pillars of the Earth, which I'm buddy reading with Carrie from Caring for Books. This is a 1,088-page behemoth about building cathedrals. I don't recommend it.
Oh.
No.
Mainly because,
I DNF that one.
The building of cathedrals is boring but fine. Kasha, how far through did you get?
Oh, I don't think much far. I started reading and I was like, it's so boring. I just can't. Because
Okay,
it's
so
so big, and if I'm bored at the beginning, it's like, how long can I
so
keep reading?
that
like
carries
this?
on through the whole thing. I would have
Oh,
DNF'd it if I wasn't buddy reading it. But severe trigger warnings for rape, sexual assault, graphic murder, arson. Like, he goes too far with a lot of the description. It's very much scenes written by a man.
I wasn't expecting those trigger warnings for a book about building cathedrals. I have to be.
Yeah, me neither.
Neither will we.
Don't think I made it that far.
Neither me nor Carrie really need trigger warnings. We tend to we give them on our videos and everything, but we don't tend to personally need them. After reading some of these sections, we message each other asking if we were okay.
Wow.
Like, it's graphic. So if someone still wants to read it, he has done a very in-depth research into building cathedrals in 1088. Like, he's done very in-depth research. So there's a lot there.
Everybody's going to say something else. Like, he's done very in-depth research into the gory scenes. I was like, damn. Like, how in-depth are we talking? Like, what?
So there is other stuff to be gained from the book, but I just wouldn't recommend it.
I've always thought about giving it a second chance. No, it's not.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. I'm so close to the end, and we're both so excited to finish this stuff. We got to about here when we both realized that we both had wanted to DNF it, and it's like, well, we're over halfway, so we're just gonna finish it now out of pure spite. Like, the end of it's a lot better. All the awful stuff happens in like this bit, and this is then just like normal level of like, because like if there are scenes of that nature, I can usually handle it fine. And I know that I'm privileged to be able to do that, but I can usually handle it fine. This bit, genuinely, I needed her to ask me if I was okay, because it was a lot. Whereas, like, this end section has been a lot more normal level, so it's not been as bad to finish it. But don't read it. Just, it's bad.
No recommendation there. Okay. I hope we have
Mine's-
better books coming.
It's a very different vibe. Mine's a very different vibe.
Good.
I've just started the other ones by Sam Hart. So I've literally just started it after work. So I'm about like 30 odd pages in. It seems pretty cute so far. It's like, I don't know, it feels quite young. I know it's a YA, but it feels like a young YA, even though the characters are like 17, but that can change. I'm only 30 pages in. About a boy who lives in like a haunted house, and then a new boy's just moved to the area and is into ghosts and is like trying to befriend him. That's as far as I've got at the minute. But yeah, so far so good. No like murder and pillaging and cathedrals, just cuteness so far.
Yeah, I
Well,
feel like,
sorry
Kasha,
to-
were you reading that?
Yeah,
once?
I read it last week. The other
No,
one.
that one, yes.
Yes.
Pillars,
Yes.
no.
No, like I think I got rid of the physical book, and always I thought maybe if I buy a nice copy, like a hardcover, maybe I'll motivate myself to read it. But now I know it's a pass for me, so I'm not gonna do that to
Yeah.
myself.
Not
But the
worth it.
book, so I'm gonna be reading one different book per sprint because I'm in the middle of 3 books, so I feel like then I can use each sprint for a book, so I make progress. The first one is not gonna be for everybody because it's a true crime nonfiction. But it's I'm looking at you. It's House of Horrors.
I'm like,
I don't know if you're familiar with the story, but I'm already like here. Is this is this guy?
Fritzl?
Yes, that's Fritzl. Yeah. So there is no details on exactly what happened to the girl and stuff, which I appreciate. So it's more like the story and what happened, not trying to be like profiting from the horrors that actually happened. So I really appreciated that because I thought maybe it was gonna use that, to sell copies of the book, you know what I mean? And I don't like that when they do that. So I like that they're keeping it like not telling anything about what happened. So if anybody's unfamiliar with the story, is this father that took his 18-year-old daughter, locked her in the basement, and had 7 children with her, and she spent 24 years in the basement until she could be released. So yeah, it's pretty bad. But there's no they don't go into detail, on the horror. So it's more like telling about what happened, what people saw, what people didn't see, like stuff like
How
that.
they found out, things like
yeah.
that.
So
Yeah.
it's not too bad.
That's going straight on my TBR.
still sounds intense.
Sorry,
It's
Olivia.
not going on my TBR.
Yeah, I know.
I feel like I know that much about the story, and I'm like, I know everything that I'm going to want to know about this situation.
Exactly.
I remember that happening like it was yesterday as well, when she kind of escaped. It was all over the news. I remember that it must have been quite a while ago now, but it doesn't feel like that long ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In another vein, I'll be reading short stories. I brought the cover for you because this doesn't have the cover, but it's Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke. And
I love it so much.
I finished the first short story. It was so messed up.
Yay!
It was
That's my
so
favorite
dark and
thing.
twisted. So yeah, now I'm reading the second story, and it's also just such an interesting concept and dark and messed up. Part 2.
Yeah.
I'm so
Yeah.
excited to read that.
I've just Googled it because I was too curious, and I think that his daughter escaped in 2008.
That
Yeah,
long
she
ago.
skipped 24 years after he got her. Yeah, it's crazy.
Because I've got vague memories of it, and I'm only 26. So that makes sense for how old I would have been. My parents wouldn't have exactly let me sat there watch the news for it at that age.
How old did you been in 2008?
I don't make me do maths.
Don't worry, I had to get a calculator to work out my age once. You're fine.
1996. I was 12.
I was 18.
So old enough to hear about it, not old enough to be able to actually listen to all of the events on the news because my mother would have just shimmied me out of the room.
Yeah. I was old enough to not be shimmied.
Same.
I was too young to learn about it. I was 9.
Oh, I was already living by myself, so I mean,
I don't know how I
It's
always
fun.
end up being the youngest person in any scenario. Like I'm the youngest person in my company. I'm the youngest person everywhere.
Well, so Olivia met Chris at the beginning of this month. He was 15, I believe, when 9/11 happened.
How old was
15. I was almost, like, my birthday's in October, so I was 1 month off being 5.
I was already going to uni, I think, when that happened. So just saying.
He's like, yeah, I remember this. I'm like, I vaguely remember being pushed off of a bed. Long story. But, like, I was pushed off of a bed whilst I was watching it. And this is my only memory.
I was in year 6. I remember it very well. Weirdly.
I am not going to mention my age, okay? It's not happening. It's not happening.
Olivia doesn't remember it.
We are going to talk about what people were reading today. We will be reading. Hello, welcome. As you can see, there's some chaos, but there will also be some reading. A nice cozy read. I think gentler than all of our current reads, which is
I've
nice.
read that one.
I wasn't expecting to be the person with like the lightest read.
Yes.
Like, that's not normally me. I'm normally the other way around, and I'm just here with like my cozy little YA.
But it's really cute. Like I normally also love horror and messed up stuff, but I really enjoy that book as well.
Oh, good.
I hope you're enjoying the last of a series, if I'm correct, and that it's lovely.
I really hope that she doesn't make that the last. I hope she does another one.
Okay, I thought it was the last one, but maybe it's just the latest one of the whole series.
She hasn't announced anymore, so it could be the last one. I'm just like living in my willful ignorance and hoping and praying that there's going to be another one.
Don't we all? Don't we all? Almost there. That's pretty. That's pretty
I've
fun.
not technically finished a proper book yet this month, so don't worry.
You're reading 1,000-page plus book, so
This is part of the issue. Yeah, I finished off Babel at, like, on the 1st, and it was like 80 pages, so that doesn't feel like it counts properly. So,
but it still counts in page count.
yeah, but I've got 4 days. No, I'm done. Paradise Lost.
Very good,
I've
but
not
if
read
your brain is tired, go to the favorites. Go to the comfort favorites. Yeah, my reading has slowed down so much too. In the first week, I was blazing. Second week, pretty strong, and then this week, it's just been like we read sometimes.
Yeah.
Hi, Mary. Okay, are we ready to read?
Yeah.
We shall begin with. I'm always debating whether it should be 20 or 25 minutes. What do we feel like?
25.
25. Okay. Let's start with 25 minutes reading. Reading time. See you in a bit. That's the end of our first sprint. How did it go for everyone?
My least favourite character was almost killed, and I was so upset.
But then they lived.
Unfortunately, but I still have hope for him having a violent and awful death.
It's not over yet.
You can have a wild guess at the crime that this man may have committed. So,
God.
yeah. Very excited to see him die.
I feel like it's always fun when you have a character that you want to have die.
It's
Even
making it
funner.
better. Yeah.
Like, celebrate, yeah.
Yeah, I read about 40 pages. Roughly.
Pretty good, pretty good.
I read about 30 pages. It's just so cute. Everything about it is just stupidly cute. I'm having a great time.
That's good.
Yeah, I don't know how much I read, but I mean, we're at the point where they are basically talking about the kids after they were released, and because some of them, they were teenagers when they left, and they had never seen the light, or like they never had like fresh air, and how they now had to go to therapy to try to have a normal life. They also didn't know how to speak correctly and things like that, which is really crazy if you imagine that somebody is basically kept captive for their whole lives, and they are a teenager now, and that's all they know, is one room and what they see on the television. It's just insane.
That is intense.
A little bit.
I do not know how much I read because I was not paying attention in the beginning, but I feel like I'm going to get to the grand finish of this short story soon. But yeah, lots of content warnings if you're going into
Yes,
this
always.
one. Especially for pet lovers. I feel like it's always worth seeing with horror.
Yeah, sadly.
Yeah. But yes, other people have been reading too.
Nice.
That's very productive. Book and dishes.
Yes.
That is why I was running a bit late to my own sprints, because I was eating and doing the dishes. Shopaholic to the rescue. If only it had book in front of it in the title. Nice. That sounds so good. I was looking at your shelves just before this because I looked at your TikTok and they look magnificent.
I need to watch that video of the organisation of the shelves. I'm looking forward to it.
They look so good.
Very satisfying. Like, also all of like the series are the same. I don't mind having like hardcovers, paperbacks in the same series, but seeing Sam's shelves, I just realized it does look aesthetically pleasing when they're all the same.
I'm always so annoyed when mine don't match, and it's most of my like books from my childhood that don't.
Yeah.
My mum was just grabbing the ones that she could. Maximum Ride, I think I have about 6 different cover types. There's 8 books in that series.
Oh no.
Well, that I have at least.
My worst one from childhood is the Edge Chronicles, because they did like a trilogy, and then they went back and they did like a prequel. So I've got like the trilogies in paperback and then this random massive hardback because I had zero chill as a child as well and I needed them instantly. So then like half of them are hardbacks, but they're like in the middle. So if you try and put them in like chronological order, it's like
yeah, Twilight and Eragon are both all paperback because I was late to the game because social media, what is that when I'm a child? So late to the game, and then the last book is in hardback because I was like, I require it now. It's out. Give. So like, it's literally just on the shelf up. If I move my camera, that is, where is it? There we go. That is the hardback of Eragon. In there, behind the plants. Very helpful. All the paperbacks.
I
of the first
re-got mine because it was bugging me so much because I had like 2 of them in paperback, 2 of them in those massive hardbacks. They just didn't fit. So I put them on my wish list, and my mum bought them for me. And she was like, I feel like you already have these. And I was like, yeah, I do. You bought them for me when I was a teenager. However, they no longer fit the aesthetic and we need to replace them. So now I have all of those paperbacks.
My like Northern Lights-esque books. The first book, Northern Lights, is a hardback that is like, if this is a regular paperback, is about this big.
Yeah.
And then books 2 and 3 in His Dark Materials are standard size paperbacks, and then I have the hardbacks for the Book of Death books. So that's just like, at least it goes upwards, like in one movement, and doesn't like bounce.
All my series are just like this because I literally don't care. I'm more about the cover aesthetic. So if I'm like, at the moment where there's still some left over of the hardback and the paperback has dropped, I'm like, which cover do I prefer often? And then that's what I get. But I also haven't had like all of my books on all of the shelves, so I can't look at what I've done to myself yet. But I hope I will continue not to mind once I see.
I've seen some people organize themselves by height of the books, and I'm like, I can't do this to my series.
Yeah, no.
I cannot break my series up like.
That's why
I was
got
going to do color.
Shelves. Yeah, I had rainbow shelves, and I literally could just never find anything, and series weren't together, and I was like, okay, I can't handle this, and I was just changed it.
Yeah, no, mine's by genre and by surname of author within genre.
I feel like color would work for me because I'm very visual, and I'll imagine the book before I come up with the title and the author, so it'll be easier for me to locate it. But then also, I quite like the idea of doing genre now that I'm a bit older than I was when I thought I was going to do color shelves. So I don't know. I don't even have shelves yet. I need to wait.
I have it in genre and then age. I have like horror middle grades, horror YAs, and then horror adults, thrillers. Like I have it kind of like that, so that I also know middle grade YA adult, so I know the split as well. It's easier for me to find things than when I need to read something.
I've got all my YA and my adult just smushed in together, and then all my middle grade is that shelf and the shelf underneath. The shelf underneath is a big shelf. I have more middle grade than it looks. There's a couple of middle grades on. It's a mess. It's just genre.
The question is, are your TBR books amongst your read books rather than not?
No, they are here. I mean, this is partly makeup, but it's also my TBR, which is huge.
I have read and unread together.
You've read and unread together?
My place is very limited, so I kind of try and do it by genre, but then they're just shoved in as they'll fit. So everything's kind of mixed in together. I used to do read and unread, but I just couldn't keep them separated. Like
I can't deal with them being mixed in.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, how
I need the visual distinction.
Do you guys know how much you have unread versus read roundabout, or like no clue?
No, I don't know.
That I require. I don't need to know how badly I'm doing.
But it's like going to the bookstore or the library. It's like, I've read this one I haven't read. You know, it's like browsing through the shelves. You know.
I used to do little gems on the top of the books that I hadn't read yet, but now there's so many stacked that there was just like a pile of gems at the front, and I was like, I don't even know which books these relate to. This is pointless now. So I just got rid of them.
I thought you were going to say that you ran out of gems.
Yeah, I thought that was going to come too.
When I first did it, I ordered a pack, and Jensen was helping me, my son, and we got to like maybe 2/3 of the way through the shelves, and we ran out, and I was like, oh man, got all this more.
Seeing different reading shelf organizations. I have piles too. There's piles everywhere.
I couldn't show you properly. That's the top of 2 piles. It's my birthday haul that I need to fill with reading.
I just use TBR cards, you know, to put the ones that I'm gonna read that month or ones that I want to read throughout the year. Then I have TBR cards, so I don't have things on the floor, so it doesn't bother me.
That's fair. Yeah. Different ways of organizing.
Yeah.
I also just wanted to mention I'm all here for vampire romance. I hope it's good vampire romance, but I'm all for vampire romance. I think it's quite fitting for Paradise Lost that the footnotes were like, that didn't happen. Like, religious book, that didn't happen. Stark contrast to the vampire romance. And hello. Hi. Welcome to the reading sprints. We were reading and then we were talking about organizing our shelves, and there are beautiful, all of our shelves are in short. This is my singular shelf. It's lovely. Can't see any of it.
Ironically, the shelf that you can see probably the best is this one. And as Olivia knows, these are not my books. I mean, those are my books because I'm borrowing them, but these are all of my partner's books. Because he has too many to fit on the shelves downstairs. So they invaded my library, which is just rude. I need the space.
My partner doesn't read, so all the books are mine. All the bookshelf space is mine.
Neither does mine. He's not read a book in like 4 or 5 years.
But he likes the aesthetic.
He used to read. Like, he's got every single Discworld novel and everything that's been published by Terry Pratchett. So obviously, like, that's a lot as it is. So I couldn't really say no when he helped me build the bookshelves. There's 5 in total. There's another 2. Yeah.
I feel like, Kasha, how many bookshelves do you have?
I'm counting.
I saw you looking around your room.
Yeah.
Like,
I have 4, but I bought like this IKEA thing you can put on top to build more space. And then I have this one is like smaller one, so it makes like a corner.
Yeah.
So it's like 4, the corner, and the thing you can add on the top as an add-on kind of thing. Yeah.
But you also collect DVDs and
they are
Funkos.
over there with my horror collectibles, with my horror like statues and stuff. And these are all DVDs, Blu-rays, steelbooks. It's all horror movies. They're all here. They all live here in this room. This is my recording room and horror collection, so to say.
I love that. I love that shrine aesthetic.
I've got like 3. I've got like 3 shelves, a half one, and then a skinny one over here, and then a TBR cart. But I need more. I've already like put a load across the top of these 3. There's not really any space, but I just keep buying stuff. I had to build I say build. It's not that fancy. I made them out of cardboard boxes, but I made like little risers so that I could double stack my manga because I have a problem. So I needed to like make more shelf space without actually having to fit any more shelves in the room. So.
And I mean, manga is the kind of book with the longest series, like many volumes.
But also, like, Rises is so clever because I just double stack and then just like accept when I have to double stack. Luckily, I don't yet, but I just accept that I can't see the ones in the back. That is clever, and now I'm keeping all of the cardboard boxes. My partner will kill me.
I'm trying to convince my dad to make some out of wood, because the cardboard ones are fine, but they're not like the strongest thing, and they have quite a few on them. So they're kind of like bowing. And I was trying to describe it to him, and he was like, "I don't understand what you mean. What do you want?" I'm like, "I just want like a little half shelf." And he's like, "What do you mean?" I don't understand. I was like, I don't know how else to explain this. I was like, "I'll draw it." So I don't know if he'll ever understand what I'm talking about. He was very confused.
I guess you could show him what you made out of the cardboard and be like, "This in wood, please."
Yes, just take this. I'll give you all the measurements. Just make this in wood. That's all I want.
We have someone reading The Stand, which I think is Stephen King.
Yes.
Which is Kasha's realm. Jen, you read Stephen King too, right?
I have started. I'm starting a collection. I've not read too many yet. I don't think I have The Stand. I don't remember. Excuse me 1 second.
Zoom out effect.
Stephen King shelf. I don't think I have The Stand yet, but I do have a lot to read. And I was supposed to be doing Stephen King 2022, and I set myself had a little thing with the books that my friend made me. I was going to colour it in. I read some, like 2.
I mean, they're
No.
often quite chunky.
Yeah, I didn't do as well as I hoped, but I still got quite a few that I really want to get to, so I will get to them at some point.
There's time. Shall we do another reading sprint?
Yeah, sounds good.
Gonna do a longer one for 45 minutes. Yeah, let's go for 45 minutes of reading.
Cool, sounds good.
the end of our second reading sprint. Hello to everyone who joined us while we were reading. You're welcome to join us as well. We're still going to be doing one more sprint after this one, so you've got time to join us. Still, nice to see someone reading Mexican Gothic. Really enjoyed that one recently. And Rick Riordan, who recently announced another book in the series. I think this same series, this branch of the series. But yeah, how did everyone's reading sprint go?
It was good. I finished my section of Pillars of the Earth for today with the buddy read, so that's done. And then I've read about, I'm having to do maths, 50 pages of this book.
Oh, the sci-fi one that was in a book box?
Goldspur, GSFF box, which is why I have it. The original copy is bright pink and very pretty, but yeah, the Goldspur one's purple. I'm really enjoying it. I'm like 3 pages from the end, so if you see me half reading, just finishing it off. It's really good so far. It's really fun. I'm enjoying getting into more sci-fi.
That's good. I do want to read some more sci-fi that I wouldn't usually pick up. I think when I had a Luma crate, I read the title's completely gone. Oh, the title's completely gone out of my mind, but it was a really good sci-fi book. I can't think of it, but I was like, I wouldn't have picked this up.
Just a Luma crate. What was the plot?
It's like it was like there was main character called Chloe. She was disabled with a phantom limb, and there was Erin. I can't remember.
Was it Asian inspired?
No, it was not.
No.
It just had a really good brand of like LGBT and disabled characters in space doing some sci-fi stuff that felt very Star Wars-esque, but not quite. I will find it. I'll find it.
The one that's ringing bells is Winter's Orbit, but I don't know if that's the right one.
Because before then, it was like...
Before then, okay.
It was not Seven Kingdoms, but it was like Seven Mercies. Or is that the sequel? I think it might be Seven Mercies. Seven Devils.
That's the sequel, Seven Devils.
Yeah, Seven Devils.
I remember Seven Devils now. Yeah, okay. I'm there.
Seven Devils, like a sci-fi that I wouldn't have picked up, but I really had a good time with. That's what I want. If there was a sci-fi book box.
This is why I'm subscribed to GSFF. Because I get my fantasy and then I get like a little bit of sci-fi. To kind of like get me into it a little more. I'll let you know how I feel at the end of this. I'm 123 pages in and I'm really enjoying it so far. It's all about like mind hacking and having like tech in your body, and there's like a big corporation that everyone is wanting to bring down because they're evil, but the main character doesn't think they're evil. So I'm assuming she's going to be like, oh wait, they are evil, and then kind of go from there. It's my assumption.
How about you? How did reading go, Jem?
I did another 60 pages. It's still really cute. I really like the characters. The one character, like the new boy Pax, he's just such a like refreshing character because he's so like comfortable in his own skin. He's considered weird by everybody, and he just couldn't care less. He's just so happy in his interests and in his style and just in his own little world that he really doesn't care. And it's just really nice. Like I really like it. It's cute.
You don't get too many teenage characters as well who's like already comfortable, already happy with themselves, and that's kind of refreshing.
Yeah. And he's really aware of like how other people see him, and he's just like, that's cool. They think I'm weird. I don't care. It's nice to read it. It's really good.
I'm so looking forward to it now.
It's so cute.
How about you, Kasha?
I picked up my next book, which is The Whisperman by Alex North.
Oh,
I like it, but my only problem with the book is that every chapter is about a different character, and there is no headers. There's only numbers of chapters, and it's a little bit annoying because you have to read a little bit to figure out who's talking to you, which is fine. But there are so many different characters at this point that it's a little bit annoying me.
That's
I
fair.
hate
Because if I see like the name of the character, then my mind already gets, okay, we're going now to this guy, or to this person. But if I don't have anything and I just keep going from one character and then I keep reading to the next and it's someone else and it's like, oh yeah, this is someone else, it kind of like takes you out of the experience a little bit, I guess. But I do like the mystery that it's about these whispermen that supposedly kidnapped and killed children, but he's in jail and now another kid disappeared, so they don't know if it's a copycat or what's going on. So I do like kind of like the mystery thriller part of it. It's just this kind of changing POVs without telling you is just annoying me a little bit.
Yeah, that must be frustrating. If you want to know a fun fact, I don't read chapter titles, which also means when the point of view is like a chapter title, I never read it either. So I'm quite used to just being like, next chapter, figure things out. But I know for most people that would not happen and would be very frustrating.
So I do the same thing where I don't read chapter titles, which in middle grades is really sad because I miss out on amusing stuff. But what happens is I don't read the chapter title. I read a couple pages in and then I'm like, we've changed perspective. And then I go and check the chapter title to see who it's supposed to be.
I'm just like, I guess with someone new, and then just continue. And if a writer's good enough,
I don't struggle too much if they don't put the name in, because I keep doing this and not paying attention to the cues, so I have to figure it out myself. But it is annoying when I go back and like, what does it say?
And I feel like if the writer is good enough, you'll immediately feel the difference. But they have to be quite.
The thing is, Mina and the Slayers. Every chapter is also a different character, but because they're all a group of friends and they're all hanging out together and they're all kind of experiencing similar things, it's easy for me to accept all of those changes. But in this thriller, like the characters are very different people that don't even know each other at this point. And that is making it like a bigger disconnect for me. Because with Mina and the Slayers, it was also like that, just chapter numbers and different characters talking to me. And I was fine with it because they're all a group of friends. They're all in the same town. They do the same things. They all know things. And now it's like completely different characters. So it's kind of like more disconnect, but it's fine.
I remember when I read Percy Jackson, and then I was like 3 books in, and somebody was like, the chapter titles. And I was like, what about them? So I think for that series, in Artemis Fowl, I would just read the book and then go back and read the contents page. Get the vibe? Okay.
Oh, I see.
There's reasons.
That makes it more acceptable, if not less annoying.
I can already think what the reason might be.
Books and
I'm not going to say because spoilers.
Okay. I'm figuring out.
No, my reason is that maybe 2 of the characters are either the same person or 2 of the characters have something to do with the killer. Like maybe the numbers have another reason. I don't know. We'll see.
I forgot for a second that Rosie was reading The Strand, and I was like, what do you mean you've got to page 1100?
Exactly. That means somebody's reading Stephen King. FYI.
What the hell?
Also, hi, Cameron. Oh my gosh. Long time no see. That is very good progress. Babel is very, very long in terms of how long the chapters are. So that's a lot of reading.
And it's also very slow.
Yes.
Brilliant, but slow.
It is. Hello, not too late at all. Terry Pratchett, we were talking about him earlier.
We were. I have his entire collection. And I don't own any of them. I can't believe Percy Jackson's releasing that new book.
Me either. But it also fits very well with the TV series coming out and so much excitement around the books.
Yeah. It's
happening
just
right now.
like it's such a marketing move, but it also was just unexpected, given that he's like kind of kept his hype, I guess, by kind of going through like different series and having like the Rick Riordan Presents publishing and things like that.
Yeah.
I've only ever read the first Percy Jackson, and that was
I've not
only
read any of them.
Yeah.
They're very good. I
I've
read
been
them as
told
a
I will love
child.
them. What were you saying, Olivia?
Oh, I was just saying they're very good. I read them as a child. I only read the original 5, but I really liked the original 5.
I only read it like a couple of years ago. I've got the first 5, the original 5 on my Kindle, I think. I constantly am forgetting that my Kindle exists. So things on it don't get picked up because when I'm trying to pick what I'm going to read, I'm like distracted by all of the many unread books on my shelf. I don't think about the many unread ebooks on my Kindle.
Yeah. It's a
I've
struggle.
been thinking about making a bullet journal spread of all my Kindle books, just so that I have something like visual to remind me that they exist. Because otherwise, they'll never be read.
I don't
I say
know.
a spread, it'd be like 12 pages. That's not the point.
I mean, I went through and I cleared out my Kindle TBR, and that was one of the best things I did, because in the beginning there was so much like, this is free today, this is free today, and not actually got any interest in them.
I did that. And then you're like, oh, I can't get rid of it. It was a free book.
But
Bloody God.
progress. Book 4, Paradise Lost. That is lots and lots of progress. I want to read that as well. Big classics. I just want to read them all.
I want to read I say that wrong every time, the Aeneid and Iliad and all of those at some point. If on a winter's night.
I struggled with that one, but I hope you're liking it. Is that the chapter title? I thought every chapter starts with "If on a winter's night," but maybe also chapter titles are something different. I don't know. Kindle, good shout.
Yeah, I might have to do that.
Don't we all love free books? Oh, I didn't even tell you about my reading progress. I finished it.
Yay!
You finished it. You didn't even say.
I forgot to mention. I finished the second short story, and the last one was quite short. It was like 50 pages. It was very good. I think the scariest one was the first one. And then I quite liked reading the author's note and seeing like why he chose these stories to be put together. I thought it was pretty clever. And then I spent a good 10 minutes like looking at my prompt list and being like, what do I want to read next? And then I started Tender as the Flesh.
Ooh, another one of my favorites. I'm loving this live. It's Olivia reading my favorites.
That is a good book.
Yes.
I've not read it, but I really want to.
I read like 12 pages, and I hate to be repetitive. I feel like all the horror books I've read this month have just been like, this is messed up in the best way possible. But again, 12 pages.
I mean, that's what we're here for.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
That
even
book is very messed up. Enjoy.
I love that. I kind of wonder if they would ever. I wonder if they would ever like adapt it into a movie. It's been crossing my mind.
Oh my god, that would be really good, but also visually very disturbing. I would see it.
Same. Get the popcorn ready. Yes.
Lots of people want to read it. And to answer this question, there's no way you can log your progress. Gothtober is run by some very competitive hosts. And so to make it less competitive for us, we don't log, we don't count anything. You just read at your own leisure. Because
That is the
it would not be
understatement of the century.
Yeah, it's going to be. Me and Hannah have a contest that goes on next year, which involves reducing our TBRs, and I feel like our friendship is going to be over by the end of the year. It's going to be gone.
I am excited to see the beef on Twitter.
I caught a glimpse of Hannah's competitiveness during Middle-earthathon. I came in at like the last sprint, and I was on her team, and I was like, "Oh, I haven't logged any of my books yet," and she was like, "We can still win." I was like, "Oh, I don't know that much. Sorry."
You're not going to be invited anymore. That's what she's saying.
You can't be on my team again. She's thinking.
No.
But yeah, competition. It's the best way to reduce your TBR. Also, buying ban for a year and any other drastic measures you can think of.
Right, buying bans don't work when you have friends like Olivia.
My solution to my buying ban is to buy my friends and family loads and loads of books instead of myself.
And then just send me books that she's on. To be fair, I do say that I want them, but she offers them, and that's the problem. Sends me books that she's unhauling. Like, my balancing the books each month, I would not struggle with this. I would not have to unhaul books if it wasn't Olivia.
So you see, if you unhaul books, then maybe some will return back to me, and then it's like a cycle.
That's what it is. You just want my books.
I can't buy any, so somehow.
If you'd said.
But yes, we have one more sprint to go, and then it's going to be the end of the reading sprints because work tomorrow. But yeah, I think at past we'll read another 45 minutes to finish off.
Perfect.
Everybody sticking with the same current read?
No, I'm changing because I have too many books that I need to finish.
Mixing it up. Multi-readers.
These will be my friends. I'm only reading little bits from these two. I'm reading 2 chapters of Dracula, 1 chapter of Assassin's Apprentice, and then I'll just read this until we stop.
Cool. Sounds good. Shall we read?
Yes.
We shall.
that's the end of our last sprint. I see you, Lizzie. Hi.
I am late, fashionably late, as you're. I got here.
Just.
Yes,
How did the audition go?
it was good. It was good. It was a lot of fun. I ended up auditioning for Macrucio as well, so that was fun.
Ooh. I can't
I
wait
did
to
it.
hear how. It'll be so much fun if you get in.
Yeah, well, we're not going to know until probably next week because she has like more auditions to do. But she said she'll let us know as soon as she can. But it was a lot of fun.
Fingers crossed.
How did everyone's last reading sprint go?
The chapter of Assassin's Apprentice took longer than anticipated, so I only read like 10 pages of this in the end, because I read my chapter of this and then the 2 chapters of Dracula, which I enjoy. Like,
Nice,
actively
I'm
enjoy
glad.
it, which I didn't expect.
I'm glad. It's a good one. It's a good classic.
Definitely.
How about you, Jem?
I don't remember where I got up to, but where I started. But I think maybe like another 60 pages. I'm up to like page 204. I only started it after work, so it's a very quick read. I'm really enjoying it. I think I'm probably just gonna finish it after sprints because I really want to know
Nice. Book in an evening.
Yeah.
How about you, Kasha?
So I grabbed the other book that I had started, which is Ghost Eaters, and it's basically this girl that her ex-boyfriend is trying to recover from a drug addiction, and he calls her and asks for her help, and she ignores him, and then he dies of an overdose, and so she's guilty now. Like that happens at the very beginning, so it's not like a spoiler or anything. And then there is this drug that people can take, and then basically you're able to see ghosts, and she gets a little bit addicted to that. So it's quite different, quite unique, and all his books have been complete different from each other, which is something that I also like about him. They are all weird, and in a way, I enjoy them because they are so different from everything else that I have read. So yeah,
This is the same author that did Whisper Down the Lane, right?
yes,
Is it? Yeah, I really liked that book. That was a really good one. I haven't read anything else by him yet, though.
This is her third book, so he only has 3. It's not that much.
That's on my list to get because I really enjoyed Whisper Down the Lane. I liked it a lot.
Sounds good. How about you, Lizzie? Did you have time to read? I don't know when you got here because I was reading.
I joined about 20 minutes before the end of the sprint, and I've picked up. Abby, you'll be very happy to know. And I read 30 pages, and I'm really enjoying it.
Yes. I'm making her read that this month.
Yeah, Abby was like, "Oh yeah, so we're doing this book club together, and to be really like make it the hardest for you because you read really quickly, I'm gonna make you read this giant book."
I've read it. I didn't just do it because I'm awful. You like the Miss Peregrines, and it's like adult Miss Peregrines.
It is, and I'm on page 84 now, so it's going.
If anyone didn't catch the title, it's Ordinary Monsters.
Yes, by J.M. Miro.
There you go.
And it's like an adult Miss Peregrine song for particular children. Like, it's not exactly the same, obviously. It goes in its own realm, but if you need something to see whether you'd like it or not.
and I'm a quarter of the way through Tender as the Flesh, and this is the most disturbing thing, I think. Like, I'm actually queasy reading this, and I'm usually with horror, I'm like, fine. Good queasy. I'm already meat reducing, but I will not be eating meat while I read this book, like, at all. Just Flexitarian is turning full vegan for a week for at least, because I can't. I feel like this 50 pages of this has actually affected me more than any documentary I've ever watched. I have to be honest.
That's a strong statement.
Yeah. I really can't recall reading anything and feeling this queasy. But anyway, I shall grapple with that mentally in a bit. Other people have been reading. You're getting really close to the end. Nice. I hope you enjoy finishing. Multi-reading.
Lizzie's laughing because of what I did with Sherlock Holmes.
You did it all in a week, so that was super impressive.
I read the entire published Sherlock Holmes in a week. It was a mistake. Still managed it though, along with 2 other 500-page books. So I'm pretty proud of myself.
It's intense to read so many short stories, also like in one go.
My brain just kind of went, no more Sherlock. Like, part of my brain was like, let's watch all the adaptations that I love, and the other part of my brain was like, no.
My brain was like, no more Sherlock after reading the originals, because I just could not.
I just needed a minute.
I feel like the most important part of here was the eating and the kitty cuddles.
Yes.
I hope it was a good time.
I want pizza and kitty cuddles.
The new family game, I haven't heard of that.
I've not heard that one either.
But yes, it is late here, later in the Netherlands. And so I think we'll probably close up these sprints, but thank you for joining and for reading with us. The next live show is also right here on Saturday, 7:30. We are watching Ready or Not, which is on Disney Plus, at least in the UK. And it's a decently length film. I think it's like an hour and a half for people like me who struggle with films. We'll be watching 7:30, live tweet reactions over on Twitter, and then hopping over here when we're done to discuss with Tish and Hannah. So you should make it if you can. Anybody else got anything to shout out while we're here? Exciting channel stuff?
No.
Okay. In that case, check out everybody's channels because they are all wonderful people and very fun. And yeah, have a good night all.
Night.
Bye.